Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss about portal vein and portocaval anastomosis. First of all, what is portal vessel? An artery or a vein having capillaries at both the ends is called as a portal vessel. The portal vein which we are going to discuss is a large vein which collects the blood from the alimentary tract, the abdominal part of alimentary tract, extending from esophagus to the rectum and upper part of anal canal, then gallbladder, the pancreas and the spleen, and conveys this blood to the liver. In the liver, the portal vein breaks up into sinusoids which are drained by the hepatic veins to inferior vena cava. Here this figure shows the formation and course of portal vein. Here we have the C-shaped loop of duodenum. Here is the pancreas, uncinate process, head and neck and body of pancreas. This part is the neck of pancreas, and posterior to the neck of pancreas there is formation of portal vein. Here the portal vein is formed posterior to neck of pancreas by the union of superior mesenteric vein and splenic vein lying opposite to the L2 vertebra. Then this vein is about 8 cm long. It passes upwards posterior to the first part of duodenum. Then it passes further upwards above the duodenum, and then it reaches the porta hepatis of liver, where it divides into right and left branches which enter the liver and further divide into smaller branches and sinusoids. Here is the same portal vein formed by the superior mesenteric vein and the splenic vein, part lying posterior to the first part of duodenum, supraduodenal part, and here it divides into the branches. Here we can see few tributaries of the superior mesenteric vein, and here we can see the tributaries of the splenic vein. The inferior mesenteric vein, draining the blood mainly from the colon, is a tributary of splenic vein, while superior mesenteric vein joins the splenic vein to form the portal vein. Portal vein supplies blood to the liver and is a major source of blood supply to the liver. 80% of blood to the liver is through portal vein, while remaining 20% is through the hepatic artery. Here we can see few tributaries of the superior mesenteric vein. Superior mesenteric vein mainly drains the blood from small and large intestine. Inferior mesenteric vein mainly from the colon. Inferior mesenteric joins the splenic. The splenic vein drains the blood from spleen, stomach and pancreas. Here we can also identify the left gastric vein, which is a tributary of portal vein. So this portal vein is formed by these two main branches, superior mesenteric and splenic vein, and these two veins start as the capillaries from the small and large intestine or from this stomach, spleen. So one end is having capillaries. At the other end also the portal vein divides into specialized capillaries in liver called as sinusoids. So capillaries at both the ends, such a vessel is called as a portal vein. Now, relations of portal vein. Portal vein is divided into 4 parts. Infraduodenal, lying inferior to the first part of duodenum. Retroduodenal part, posterior to the first part of duodenum. supraduodenal part lying superior to the first part of duodenum, and the last part within the liver, intrahepatic. Before it enters into liver, it divides into right and left branch. The relations of infraduodenal part. Here we have removed the duodenum first part and part of neck of pancreas. So here is the formation of portal vein. This is the portal vein. It is lying posterior to the neck of pancreas and anterior to the inferior vena cava. While relations of retroduodenal and supraduodenal part. Here is the first part of duodenum. Here is the stomach. Posterior to the first part, here we have the portal vein. So the retroduodenal part is anteriorly related to first part of duodenum and these two structures. Bile duct on the right side and gastroduodenal artery on the left side, and it is posteriorly related to inferior vena cava. While the supraduodenal part above the duodenum is related anteriorly to these two structures, bile duct on the right, hepatic artery proper on the left, and posteriorly it is related to inferior vena cava, but it is separated from the inferior vena cava by a gap called the epiploic foramen. Now these three structures are lying within the lesser omentum, which is a fold of peritoneum between the liver on one side and stomach and first part of duodenum on the other side. Here we can see this lesser omentum. It has got a right free margin. The right free margin of lesser omentum contains the structures portal vein posteriorly and these two structures anteriorly, that is hepatic artery in the upper part, gastroduodenal lower part, and bile duct and common hepatic duct to the right of the blood vessels. This right free margin of lesser omentum containing the supraduodenal part of portal vein is posteriorly related to this foramen, omental foramen or the epiploic foramen, which separates the contents of the lesser omentum from the inferior vena cava. Then tributaries of portal vein include the left gastric and right gastric veins, superior pancreatico-duodenal vein, cystic vein drains into the right branch of portal vein, while paraumbilical veins drain into the left branch of portal vein. This figure shows the tributaries of portal vein. Here we have portal vein formed from superior mesenteric and splenic vein. Here is the right gastric vein draining the blood from the stomach, left gastric vein draining the blood from the stomach. Both these are the direct tributaries of the portal vein. The right branch of portal vein receives a cystic vein from gallbladder, while the left branch of portal vein receives the paraumbilical veins, which lie within the falciform ligament. The left gastric vein, which drains the blood from the stomach, also receives few veins draining the blood from the lower end of the esophagus or the intra-abdominal part of esophagus, while the right gastric vein receives a pre-pyloric vein lying anterior to the pylorus of stomach. The superior pancreatico-duodenal vein, as the name suggests, drains the blood from the pancreas and the duodenum into the portal vein. So these are the tributaries of the portal vein. Now direction of blood flow in normal conditions. Here we have discussed the tributaries, the left gastric, the right gastric, the superior mesenteric. The blood from these veins drains towards the liver. Here is the para-umbilical vein, which is a tributary of left branch of portal vein. In normal conditions, the blood flow is towards the liver. But in certain conditions where there is obstruction to this blood flow, for example, in cirrhosis of liver, then the blood flow can reverse and it will give rise to certain important clinical conditions which we will discuss later. Now, sites of portosystemic anastomosis. The portal vein tributaries anastomosis with the tributaries of superior and inferior vena cava at certain sites. These are called as the portosystemic anastomosis. The tributaries of portal vein and tributaries of systemic veins, that is the superior and inferior vena cava. Here, umbilicus is a site of portosystemic anastomosis. Then the lower end of esophagus, the bare area of liver, the posterior abdominal wall, anterior aspect of kidney, anal canal. These are all the sites where there is anastomosis between the veins draining blood into portal vein and the veins draining blood into the systemic vein. Few of these anastomosis are clinically important, especially in portal hypertension, that we will discuss now. Normal pressure within the portal vein is about 5 to 15 millimeter of mercury, but if there is obstruction to the flow of blood in the portal vein, then the pressure can rise up to 40 millimeter of mercury, where it is called as portal hypertension. In such conditions, there will be backflow of blood into the portal vein and from the portal vein into its tributaries, that is the splenic vein and the superior mesenteric vein and other smaller tributaries. In such conditions, the blood which is going back from portal vein to the tributaries will open up the collateral vessels at the sites of anastomosis. Here is the site of anastomosis. Here is the lower end of esophagus. The lower end of esophagus, blood from this end is drained by the esophageal veins into the left gastric vein, and left gastric vein drains this blood into the portal vein, while the upper and middle part of esophagus, which is lying in the thorax, the blood from this part is drained into the azygous vein through hemiazygous vein, and ultimately this blood will go to superior vena cava, which is a systemic vein. So here esophagus is a site for anastomosis between the systemic and the portal veins. There is a free anastomosis between the veins which drain the blood from upper esophagus and lower esophagus. So in a condition when there is portal hypertension or any condition which obstructs the blood flow through the portal vein into the liver, there will be backflow of blood from the portal vein to left gastric vein, from here to the esophageal veins. In such conditions, the anastomosis between the systemic veins and the portal veins tributaries at this place will open up. Now this condition leads to dilatation and tortuosity of the veins in the esophagus. This condition is called as esophageal varices, just like we have discussed the varicose veins in the lower limbs. The veins in the esophagus which form the anastomosis will get dilated and become tortuous. If the pressure rises further, this can rupture. These anastomotic veins are lying within the submucosa, and this may rupture, leading to bleeding in vomitus, bleeding into the esophagus, and from here this blood may come out through vomiting, condition called as hematemesis. Another important site of portocaval anastomosis is the umbilicus. We have discussed that the paraumbilical veins which are present in the falciform ligament are the tributaries of the left branch of portal vein. So they will carry the blood from the level of umbilicus to the left branch of portal vein. Umbilicus is a watershed line in normal conditions. The superficial veins of the anterior abdominal wall drain the blood above the umbilicus into the veins superior to the umbilicus, that is the superior epigastric veins and lateral thoracic veins, while the inferior veins go into the femoral veins through the superficial epigastric veins. Now, so the umbilicus is a site for the anastomosis between the veins of systemic circulation and portal circulation. Here the paraumbilical vein conveys the blood to the portal system. The superficial veins of the anterior abdominal wall, that is the superior and inferior epigastric, lateral thoracic and superficial epigastric, they are the tributaries of systemic veins. So in case of portal hypertension, there will be backflow of blood into the paraumbilical veins, and this blood will go into the systemic veins superiorly as well as inferiorly, and it appears like the veins are radiating in all the directions from the umbilicus. This condition is called as caput medusa, which is seen in the portal hypertension. The another clinically important site for portocaval anastomosis is the rectum and anal canal. Here we have the inferior mesenteric vein, which is a tributary of splenic vein. The inferior mesenteric vein starts from the superior rectal vein, or you can say the superior rectal vein, which drains the blood from the rectum and upper part of anal canal, continues as the inferior mesenteric vein and ends into splenic vein and ultimately into the portal vein. The middle and inferior rectal veins, which also drain the blood from the rectum and anal canal, they go into the systemic circulation through the internal iliac vein, common iliac vein. So the lower end of rectum and anal canal has an anastomosis between the tributaries of portal vein and the tributaries of systemic vein. In case of portal hypertension, due to backflow of blood over here, this anastomosis or the collateral circulations will open up and may lead to rupture of the veins, and there may be resultant bleeding from the anal canal, which we call as the hemorrhoids or the piles. These are the three clinically important sites of portocaval anastomosis: lower end of esophagus, umbilicus and the anal canal. Here is the caput medusa. Here the superficial veins draining the blood above the umbilicus, below the umbilicus. All these veins give appearance as if they are radiating in all directions from the umbilicus. Such condition called as caput medusa, like the head of the medusa. So in such conditions where there is portal hypertension, the pressure in the portal vein can be reduced by bypass surgeries, also called as shunt. The blood from the portal vein can be directly diverted to the hepatic veins, that is the portohepatic shunt, bypassing the liver, or it can be diverted directly to the inferior vena cava, called as portocaval shunt, or from the tributary of portal vein, that is the splenic vein, to the tributary of inferior vena cava, that is the renal vein. Splenico-renal shunts and many more shunts are possible here. So in conditions of portal hypertension, we can bypass the liver and divert the blood from portal vein to the inferior vena cava. Here this is one such procedure called as TIPS. You can see the outline of liver, outline of inferior vena cava and the portal vein. Blood from the portal vein is bypassed through this anastomotic channel into the inferior vena cava. Here is the hepatic vein. Portal vein is connected with the hepatic vein. Blood will pass through the hepatic vein to inferior vena cava. This anastomosis is within the liver, so it is called as intrahepatic portosystemic shunt. And for this anastomosis, the approach is through a transjugular, that is the jugular vein in the neck. So it is called as transjugular intrahepatic portosystemic shunt. Another possible shunt is the portocaval shunt, where portal vein is directly anastomosed with the inferior vena cava before it reaches the liver. So portocaval shunt. Another is the splenico-renal shunt, where splenic vein, the tributary of portal vein, is anastomosed with the renal vein, which is a tributary of inferior vena cava, thereby reducing the pressure in the portal vein. Thank you.